the heart and soul behind every business. Stories. Welcome to Business Story of the Week, hosted by me, Joshua Laurie. From setbacks to comebacks, from tragedies to triumphs, we inspire entrepreneurs through conversations that matter. Witness the magic that turns dreams into reality. Whether it's your career, business, or life, your success is always one story away. This is Business Story of the Week.
Hello, I'm Kathleen Reily here with Business Story of the Week.
Fantastic. And that is the lovely Kathleen Reily. She is going to be our guest for today. And of course, I am your host. My name is Joshua. And every week, every day, every episode, we ask a question. And today's question is, can you really rewire your brain? Can you really rewire it to break free from the cycle of stress, the cycle of, challenges of life, and you really rewire it to improve your overall well-being? Well, Kathleen is the perfect guest to answer that question for today. Kathleen's unique pre-sensing method for peace. Men learn how to free their body and mind by harnessing their inner strength to achieve mental clarity and freedom from negative thought patterns and the chronic cycles of stress. This is a journey to heal the autonomic nervous system and rediscover the balanced state between heart and mind. Today, Kathleen is going to share her secrets and her unique method for peace. Kathleen, thank you so much for coming onto the show. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much. What a lovely introduction.
I'm quite interested. That first line right there really made it. Unique pre-sensing method for peace. I mean, that's it. Method for peace. I think you've sold everyone already on that. Oh my goodness, what is this? I need it every day, please. Right? It's like you said, like it says here, chronic cycles of stress. We are all chronically stressed. We are all chronically burnt out. But Kathleen, before we really start getting deep into this, I want to know what the young Kathleen Reily was like. What did the young Kathleen Reily think about the power of the mind? Was she always interested about? Was she always, stressed out and burned out? Maybe, I hope not. But what would the young Kathleen Reily say to the Kathleen Reily of today?
What an excellent question. Well, to answer that, I had chronic anxiety and panic disorder for maybe three or 4 years, possibly longer. But that was when the symptoms were very acute, was for those age 20 to probably 24. And as a result of many early childhood hospitalizations and other things too. But so I actually was exposed to the concept of neuroplasticity when I was in middle school to rewire learning challenges in the brain, which it's really profound. You can reshape the brain in magnificent ways. And so then I kind of returned back to that later in my 20s, and I went into meditation, and then also what is called positive neuroplasticity, where you are using emotion, essentially. You're using emotion to re-educate the nervous system. And peace is an emotion. Fear is an emotion. And so, my gosh, I young Kathleen to now 10 years later, Kathleen, gosh, I would have never in a million years grasped how much a human being can transform through their intention.
Fascinating. Of course, I feel like, being young, wide-eyed, Kathleen, and for everyone, like me, myself, Joshua, young, wide-eyed, like just little innocent eyes, looking little, the world for innocent little eyes. We just feel like the world is perfect, right? We feel like it's there. Everything's everything is nothing can be wrong. And start growing up and we start feeling, hmm, okay, there's a lot of things to deal with. There's a lot of things going on in my mind. There's a lot of things going outside of my mind, externally as well. I'm pretty. I love how you pointed out like you would have never grasped the profoundness of transformation, because I feel like that's something that you learn throughout your life. That's something that you realize in your journey of life. But speaking about journey, Kathleen, your journey of healing the autonomic nervous system is quite an interesting concept here. And I love this platform right now to give our audience and listeners of what this journey is like from, like you said, transforming yourself from the young Kathleen to the now, healing the autonomic nervous system. How does it compare to the process of building mental resilience? Would you say that they are two sides of the same coin?
Yeah, so first of all, on the note that you mentioned earlier, I feel it's almost a returning to the childlike self, but gaining all the wisdom of maturation. To be like a child in your spirit, but to have the wisdom of, growing older. I feel
Well,
like that's the sweet spot.
if that isn't the goal, right? If that isn't how you live life, keeping that childlike wonder and fascination, but still glowing wisdom.
Yeah, yeah. And so in terms of re-educating the autonomic nervous system, so that that process is really, it's largely predicated on emotion, right? Your ability to and make sure I'm answering your question correctly.
Yeah.
That that process is about, yes, the intention of the conscious mind saying, I intend to feel calm rather than to feel fearful, or I intend to change this, because chronic stress is a unconscious pattern. You'll people who struggle with it, a stimulus will occur. Maybe it's a conflict at home, you know, getting cut off while you're driving, whatever it is for that person. And then suddenly, it's as if they lost control and they're in the spiral stress response. So when you're re-educating the autonomic nervous system, um, which lives in the body is the unconscious mind, and that is where the stress response lives, the unconscious stress response,
Yeah.
the chronic response. So when you are changing that loop, you have to be speaking the language of the body, which is feeling, sensing, emotion, and not the language of the mind, which is thinking, right? Thoughts. But 5% of the change process is having the intention to feel something different. That is thought. The rest, the 95%, the rest is feeling the emotion of peace, feeling the emotion of safety and calm, love, right? Love heals all wounds. And so that's really the process of healing the autonomic nervous system. And you're also moving into, certain meditative states, because a huge part of the pre-sensing process is is meditation. Not in the sense that you're following your breath for 30 minutes,
Mm.
but more in the sense that you're learning to disconnect from the character of the third dimensional world, right? Physical world.
Good. We are getting much deeper into this now, Kathleen. I what I caught there, you mentioned autonomic nervous system as you feel it. Sounds to me like it requires a lot of self-love, a lot of kindness to yourself, so to speak, because talking about harnesses emotions, it's peace is an emotion, fear is an emotion. But when you try to start rewiring now or healing your autonomic nervous system, this is where now your method of presensing comes in. And I love how you pointed out the method of meditation where you're not necessarily following your breath, but it feels like a deeper sense of meditation, of course, in this the context of um, uh, being more attached or detached rather, right? So being more intentional. Of course, there's still intention in focusing in your breath, right? But there's a different kind of intention of attaching yourself to that emotion. Talk to us a little bit about that. Talk to us about the unique presensing method and how does it connect to healing our autonomic nervous system?
Yeah. So great question. Your This is a 8-week process that I developed, and it's the first month. So to kind of break it down, so the first month is about purely detaching from the physical, right? The environment, body, your sense of time, the sense of who you think you are. So you're moving into that pure consciousness state. You're also this I have I and pre-sensing I developed. It's we work only with men who are healing chronic stress in the nervous system, and that's a whole nother reasoning. But
Yes.
so the men who are going through this process, they're doing this in 30-minute segments 3 times a day. So once in the morning, once in the afternoon, once at night. And so they're detaching from the character, they're detaching from the personality and environment. And then they're establishing what's called heart-brain connection, heart-brain harmony, coherence. And that is a process that actually allows them to recalibrate heart rate variability. So when you are living in a high state of stress, alert throughout your day, or even moderate, the body isn't built to sustain that. The heart rate variability becomes extremely erratic, and it's normally not very predictable. It's normally but it becomes really erratic. So you have kind of like that pattern. So in learning to use your breath and your attention in the center of your heart, you can breathe your heart back into a healthy state of variability. So we do that. And that, I see it time and time again. They'll go to doctor's appointments. Wow, Jim, your blood pressure looks really good. What have you been doing?
What?
So
pre-sensing. I've been doing this pre-sensing method.
Preemptively sensing a low blood pressure.
Oh, interesting. What was the inspiration behind the pre-sensing?
Sorry, what was your question?
What was the inspiration behind the pre-sensing? Why did you call it pre-sensing?
This is a really funny joke. Well, not really a joke. It's a funny story. When I went to go trademark, it was originally Presence, Presence, for the company.
Oh, Presence.
Well, I was going to call the company Presence, but I went to go trademark it, and it was taken. So I thought, okay, well, let's do Presense. So I just said, okay, well, Presense it is. So I trademarked it. And then later later, it sort of dawned on me, this is exactly what clients are doing in meditation. They're pre-sensing their future. Yeah.
Talk about now your process there. Talk to us about the next step in this program that you created. Now, the name behind pre-sensing, how much of it makes much more sense throughout the week? How much of the pre-sensing aspect of it keeps popping up?
Well, so to kind of finish answering your question from before, which I think
Yes.
will answer this, is, the last portion of that first month and most of the second month is spent sensing the emotions of your new self, your new nervous system, if you will. And those emotions are calm, safety, love, protection, peace, and gratitude for life, right? And so these are all elevated frequencies that rewire the nervous system. And that's all pre-sensing.
It's the whole. I've been really talking through that again with my friends the past days. Gratitude, love, and like literally, I'm not a big proponent of gratitude. I feel like it's a huge factor in our overall well-being, but we're just not taught that. Like we go to school, we go through most of the university, we go through kindergarten, everything. Not once were we taught like some sort of values class where, hey, these are some of the values that we actually need to start cultivating in our mind. And we're sort of expected to just wing it. At the same time, you're learning along with it. It's fine. How would you say, what is your opinion when it comes to, you know, uh, thought patterns? Because now the goal here now is to break these thought patterns. And you said gratitude once we get through your program, we get to that point of cultivating these types of emotions, cultivating peace. But we are a society chronically stuck in negative thought patterns, negative cycles. If I were someone who isn't used to cultivating, gratitude in my heart, self-love or self-kindness and all that, where do I begin at? Where do I even start breaking these negative thought patterns?
So if you imagine a lamp that you plug into the wall, it's only given power through the electricity in the outlet. It's the same for thoughts and emotions. So negative thoughts are only given power, electricity, life, through the negative emotions you feel. So you only think thoughts that are aligned with the emotions you feel. So don't become overwhelmed by changing your thoughts. Change your emotions. So when you elevate to a state of full gratitude, the only thoughts you can think are, my gosh, how did I get so lucky? What a gorgeous day. Or, wow, look at how amazing my children are, growing up. Wow, I'm so lucky. Or, so changing your thoughts starts with changing your emotions, and elevated emotions live in the heart. And what you said earlier is very applicable and very true, where the education system, the kind of cultivation, domestication of the human being. Oh, that's my favorite.
I love that word, by the way. I love that it's domestication. I mean, it's quite accurate. It really is. I mean, but you know, it's now you're coming to a point now. You're teaching us, not just teaching everyone else, how to cultivate a more positive outlook, but you're cultivating a more vibrant mental landscape. I think that's very, very important because it's not just about positive thinking, right? That's what I capture. It's not just like breaking these negative thought patterns because, like you said, you need an elevated sense of emotion, and these emotions are what help us cut these thoughts. And that I feel like leads to neuroplasticity in that the more we start thinking about those negative thoughts, we're creating those neural pathways. That's why we're just constantly anxious, we're constantly stressed, because it's the same kind of thought patterns that we've been thinking. And what you're telling me is, Kathleen, correct me if I'm, what you're telling us is like, if we start cultivating, in order to cultivate a vibrant mental landscape, we need to start thinking of more elevated emotions. Fill that, or fill our minds constantly with more elevated emotions. This is why I love gratitude, by the way. I think it's a muscle, it's a mental muscle, a value muscle that you constantly practice. So you are elevating your life, you're elevating your thoughts. And it all leads to this practice, which you teach about neuroplasticity as well. It's central to what you teach. This is more of a tangent question. I do want to get really deeper into the concept of neuroplasticity and how it applies with your practice. Why men only? Why is it? Is it just men, by the way? Like neuroplasticity, like a peace method, because that is like it's on your bio, it's on your website. Is it? Are you focusing mainly on helping men? Why? Is it because we're chronically stressed? Because we are.
No. Actually, women actually tend to be more, susceptible to developing chronic stress. That's not to say there aren't plenty of men who are caught in the pattern, but no. So when you look at the self-development space, and not, not fitness, there's plenty of men, who are supported in the fitness space. But when you look at inner well-being, inner transformation, inner self-development, you see it's mostly women for women. So that there's a huge gap in support, and the response is threefold. The second piece is that men are generally, not always, obviously, but they're typically taught they don't know how to manage their emotions, and they don't know how to process their emotions. And emotion is only energy in motion, right? So, and we are all energy, human beings, plants, buildings, tables, that's the densest form of energy, but we are comprised of energy. So when you don't know how to properly process your emotion, your energy, it those lower frequencies, fear. I think of it more as like fear spectrum frequencies and then love spectrum frequencies. Frequency is emotion, right? And frequency is information for the body and the nervous system. And it cues health or it cues disease. So when you're not properly managing your emotions, it gets stuck in the body. Then you have chronic anxiety, you have substance abuse challenges, you have suicide rates. And these types of things are quite high among men, particularly in that midlife. And emotion is your key to an incredibly happy life. So if you're suppressing emotion and you don't know how to process it, you're also suppressing a wonderful, wonderful life.
Yes.
So that's, yeah.
That's it. It's expressing emotions, I think, is what really men struggle with. It's literally our biggest, it's a leading cause of death. And we just how do men deal with emotions? This is a meme or a joke. Like, how do men deal with emotions? Bottle it up and then die at your 40s like real men do. Like it's just literally, it's like literally the number one the cause of stress. And I love that you said that you're trying to fill that gap of like versus women to women, of course, helping each other, women helping each other in the self-help space, self-development space. But there's more or less of women helping men. I think it's very, very, very crucial. I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, most of us men, we just yearn for some affection. We yearn for that motherly affection as well. And you, you filling that space and allowing us to teaching men to embrace more of their strength, their, uh, their, their emotions rather, in order to transform their stress to clarity and strength. I think that is very, very important. How is it? Is there a significant difference for you when it comes to approaching, um, teaching the concept of neuroplasticity to men, or we're teaching it to women? How does it compare? Would you say there is a significant difference?
So much, not so much. I mean, because you're speaking about, basic biology, basic neuroscience, basic just understanding of how one creates habits and how it starts, intentional and then moves into unconscious. And yeah, because when I started many years ago, I was working with women, and so I taught these concepts, and so not really, but the the science-based focus works a lot better for guys. They want to understand. I don't get too much into the floating away. I need a blah, 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 blah. It's really just focusing on the body,
I love
brain.
that. It's very relatable. We just want like facts, science. We just get it. Like we don't want to like get all that into
Right.
that space. But I feel like it leads to there eventually, does it?
It I'll explain it in that manner, and there are plenty of guys who really don't care about that. They just want a solution to the stress. um, I'll explain it to them in that manner. And then when we go into meditation, then it's like, oh my gosh, this feels amazing. It's like dipping the nervous system into a bubble bath, but way better. And so then they really start to become hooked on that, creating respite from the chaos, creating respite from the noise.
I love that. You talk about pre-sensing. You talk about including, or rather, integrating deep meditations into that, like intentional meditation. As we begin to start wrapping this up, I'd love to find, make sure that you find for your audience some very actionable steps. And I'm very interested in what these type of meditation that you would recommend, because we talked about. I personally, I'm just, I do the breath work. That's it. I focus on the breath. I probably do 15, 20 minutes, and it does wonders. Don't get me wrong. Kathleen, I feel like you allow us to get deeper. You talk about detaching yourself from emotion, perhaps being a witness to that emotion and not reactively judging those emotions. I'd love for you to talk to us a little bit more about the type of meditation you would recommend to the same men that you teach with your pre-sensing method.
Yeah. So I would recommend looking for, so if you're not exploring, I have a YouTube channel and an application, you can explore that process and pre-sensing. You can also go into understanding what's called uh, heart coherence meditations. So that is largely about informing the brain through a healthy heart. So that's another way, and you can look those up on YouTube. You can search um, heart coherence meditation and also heart brain coherence. So yeah, that would be another version, another type of meditation I would recommend.
Heart coherence meditation,
Mhm.
where you teach the mind to cultivate a more healthier heart, like cultivating, focusing on your heart. Um, why do you think this is so effective when it comes to reducing stress?
Because the heart is ultimately what is informing the brain most of the time. And, scientists have found an immense amount of neuronal matter in the heart. So there are literally neurons in the heart that are identical to the neurons found in the brain. So when you spend more time in your heart, you're changing the information that is sent from heart to brain. So that's really how you re-educate the thinking process as well.
Heart coherence method, ladies and gentlemen. Go check that one out. And of course, the website of Kathleen Reily is KathleenReily.com, KATHLEN Reily, RILY.com. Kathleen, this is, of course, you also have your your YouTube, by the way, which is Presensing. You guys can find it out at Presensing over at YouTube. Go check that out, ladies and gentlemen. Kathleen, where else can we learn more about you? Where can we connect with you?
So I would say, go to the YouTube channel, enjoy all the tools there. And then if you want to dive deeper, there are links from YouTube to our application where we have courses.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. Courses, go check those out. Everything, all the alternatives or all the methods that Kathleen is teaching. You can all find it all there on her website, and I've checked out a few of her videos. You guys really are going to love it. Kathleen, thank you so much for being on the show. I truly enjoyed this. I truly, and like I said, I'm quite happy. I'm very enthusiastic about the topic, especially that you teach this as well. Thank you for sharing your insight, your wisdom today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Kathleen, it's been lovely. Thank you so much once again. To all our audience and listeners out there, I hope you enjoyed this method, that Kathleen has taught us today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Kathleen, one last bit of wisdom to be behind the audience. What would it be? Take us home.
Just that you are not, at your essence, you are not the challenges, you are not the personality that is only there to help you grow.
You get so lost in them. You get so lost in them. You feel like the stresses around us are just built into us. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you stronger. It's there for us to be stronger. Kathleen, thank you so much. That love, all the love and the light that you've shared us today. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
To all our audience listeners out there, thank you for watching the episode. I hope you loved this one. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
All right, so here's the thing. We try to get a little bit better every day, but we can't do it without you. So if you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe below. And if you have any comments, just leave them in the space under.